Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm back every morning hosting Cockerel Doodle. It is very early in the morning, Toronto time. It is 4 a.m. I am joined with two incredible guests. There may be a third. But let's just say hello to our guest first. David, brother, how are you?
I'm very well, man. Very well. Yourself?
Yeah, apart from 3:30, like I said, 3:30 is now the new 9 o'clock for me. I'm setting my alarm to hi ho, I ho, it's off to work we go. Very weird at 3:30 in the morning, but all good, David. And how are you, Ian, matey?
I'm good.
All good. You getting ready for your holiday?
I'm good. I tell you, 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm almost as bad a sleeper as you. So I wake up halfway through the night. So in the end, it takes me a little while to get going in the morning as well. But all's good. Thank God those England matches are finished. Oh Jesus.
Well, mate, we're going to have a very, very brief talk about that because you saw a tweet I put out after it or during it. We're going to have a quick chat about, but let's just say hello to everyone here first. So we've got Stephen in the building. Good morning, Stephen. John Ellis Hall, how are you, sir? As Ben says, the number one Agambar is in the building. Good morning to you. Stevie Fraser, good morning, my friend. A very dear friend of mine, Lee Smithy Smith, big up. The Sheriff is in the building. Andrew Gregory, as always, is in the building. Benjamin Foster, good morning. It's here. It's halfway through. I didn't time it right. I might have to go make another one. We'll see. But it's not. I go to bed after this. So having two coffees after this isn't always the cleverest thing. It's actually, I found out it's not the cleverest thing. Hemorrhoid, big up to you. Good morning to Australia. Good evening. Drew Luck, good morning. MZ, right next to David. Good morning, sir. The West Ham fan I love to see. I do love to see. As always, good morning, Mr. Colin Cross. And Sunday is here. And listen, we're going to very, very briefly talk about that, what you said, Ian. I put a tweet out. It's now got to be discussed, not just by YouTube. VAR needs to, after that penalty, I don't care who you support as a nation or who you support as a club, not in a million years is that ever a penalty. Why did it take so long to look at? And they did it for the offside goal as well, which we'll come to. But in what that decision was horrific, wasn't it?
I'm not a big fan, and I'm increasingly less of a fan of VAR. I think you probably know my views as well as any. We've talked about it on this and other shows with other sports and people from all over the world. So some will know about cricket, some won't. Some will, obviously people will know about tennis. With where you're talking about line decisions, it's clearly in and out. The ball's going to hit the wicket, or it's not going to hit the wicket. It hit the edge of the bat, or it didn't. Fact. All you're doing is in football replacing one subjective opinion with another. And to me, the guys in the whether they're in the VAR room thinking, "Oh, I need to do something. I need to contribute something. I need to be seen to be doing something." I don't know. I hate criticising referees because I used to be one, and I know what it's like to be a referee. And the worst thing, and I mean, to be honest with you, Dion Dublin as an expert summariser is an abomination. I mean, seriously. And he criticised
under the hammer in, shouldn't he? That's what he should.
Yeah, he's very good at homes under the hammer. He's extremely good at homes under the hammer. But but his knowledge of football isn't that great for an ex-pro, but certainly his knowledge of the laws is almost non-existent. But the refereeing performance last night was really poor. When I watch football, I look at the referee and I'm thinking, if there's a big decision to be made, am I confident this referee can get it right? Yeah. And last night, I didn't think he was capable of getting much right at all. The penalty that he didn't give against Maguire was, if that had been given, I don't think anyone would have had any complaints. I mean, I don't know, again, what Dion Dublin was talking about when he says he slipped and he hit him with his upper body, as if that can't make it a penalty. I wouldn't have had any problem. But the one on the young boy, Lewis, I for the life of me, I don't know what possesses the VAR to even contemplate that this has to be that this is something that's constituted an offence. Yeah, his arm is up, but I have a problem with this anyway, because the law now with handball talks about, hands being in an unnatural position. And in order now to defend against the decision being given against you, you have to put your hands behind your back, which is the most unnatural position. I must have, with the Grealish goal, my first reaction is offside. Then it's given. I thought, well, I'm probably not concentrating that hard on it, so maybe it's not a goal. And then you look at it with the naked eye, and it's Grealish is clearly the wrong side of the penultimate defender. He's ahead of the ball, so everything there, creates the ingredients for it to be offside. And yet, what did it take? 3 minutes?
3.5, I think they said.
3.5 minutes. Now, you may or may not have seen it, Brian.
I was watching Channel 4, thanks to my eyes.
No, what I was going to say is yesterday, I think, or the day before, the BBC website has got an article on the number of injuries. That apparently injuries this season are up something like 25%. Injuries to players. Yep. Now, there's obviously might be just no reason for it. Just injuries might be up, but there's all kinds of reasons. I think football fans will think. I mean, the two I think most of all are, first of all, we're asking players to play significant amounts of extra time, added time. So games are lasting now, 100, 110, 115 minutes. But the second thing is players are now standing around waiting for 3 and 4 minutes. And I think I've discussed this with you on this show last week, Brian, that, you can never prove it. But did Mickey van der Ven's injury come about as a result of his hot muscles? David, you may have been on that show as well. His hot muscles getting cold and then stretching because he goes for one of his sprints and the hamstring goes. So the whole thing is becoming a nonsense. It just comes a point where you think football fans need to stand up and say, look, enough is enough of this nonsense, because it's not actually improving the game. It's not actually improving decision making.
Yeah.
Although I guess you say, well, England would have had a second goal, a wrongly given goal for that. So on that basis, it does, but it really does not should not be taking anything more than seconds to get that. I mean, maybe something went wrong with the technology. I don't know, but it was so mild, so clearly offside. So anyone who knows football.
It's ridiculous. Just quickly, before I come to you, David, I just want to say thank you to Hemorrhoid for all the way from Australia donating to my 4 o'clock in the morning coffee appeal. I should do it like Children in Need or Comic Relief. And if you need Daigle to get a coffee, just pledge $2.99. And we have a super sticker from a good friend at Devon Wembley, which is I try and get it, it never shows it, the baby dancing. So thank you very, very much. Joe, David, I'm going to come to you because obviously England, like Colin said, it's not fair speaking about England, obviously. But what I do want to touch on that Ian said, if you look at all the other methods, Hawkeye, it's called Hawkeye in tennis, isn't it? In Hawkeye in tennis, whatever it is in cricket, NFL, I don't know if it gets used, but they obviously use the technology. All other sports done. I Ian, I'm coming to Dave with it, but the thing I still can't understand is why we did not have the semi-automated offside like the Champions League, like they did in the World Cup. That does it in seconds. Done. See you later. Like Ian said, I'm completely with him where I think Van der Ven's injury is solely because of VAR. It's getting beyond the joke now, isn't it? This is getting absolutely pathetic.
Oh, yeah, most definitely, mate. And in regards to that day with the Chelsea game, I think someone put up a little statistic, right? Now, at the beginning of this season, PGMO, the refs and all that, sat there and said that the reason they're going to add extra time and do all that things, is because they want the ball in play more. So it's more entertaining for the fans.
Yep.
In that Chelsea game, we played 119 minutes. And I can't remember the exact time, but it was between 42 and 49 minutes the ball was actually in play for that game. So if you think on a cold day, you've got a player who's, bear in mind, you've got to look at the size of Van de Ven, right, and how fast he is, yeah?
Yep.
Which means his muscles are putting in under tremendous strain. So they have to be warm. So that stoppage, yeah, and then him immediately, what was it? I think after that big stoppage and everything, I think it was like a couple of minutes later, he's going in full sprint.
Yep.
Is 100% the reason why he got that injury. And this is the why we're seeing so many injuries now. And have you noticed as well, majority of the injuries this season are ACL.
It's creeping up, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of ACL injuries. Do you know what I mean? And you look at previous seasons, why wasn't them nearly a thing? You'd heard about 1 or 2 players getting it. Now there's like 5, 6, 7 players receiving this type of injury. It's just, for me, VAR is, I know people will laugh at me and they'll probably say I've got a tinfoil hat on and all that stuff, yeah, right? But the reason the semi-automated was never brought to the Prem is because it's easier to dictate games. Given time outside and all that, then that's why even managers, the clubs within the Prem didn't vote for it, because they knew then definitive answers would always be given rather than subjective to the referees who are biased towards certain teams.
Oh, you thrown a grenade. You have thrown a grenade.
Oh yeah, I'm here, man. I'm dropping bombs, mate. I'm ready for it, like.
Mate, do you know what? Ian, do you reckon it's not a far shout?
Do I what? Sorry?
Do you reckon David's got a point?
I'm not sure. I'm always I'm always into the cock up theory rather than the conspiracy theory. I don't know. I mean, I read something that with this is moving the subject slightly along with the financial fair play thing, that they'll hammer Manchester City and Chelsea to help the 3 red clubs that the FA, really love, which is presumably Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester United.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, Liverpool are supposed to be the Liverpool, the darlings, and yet they got. I mean, someone's talked about that Gibraltar France game. I mean, I read about it. I haven't seen the incident, I'll be honest, so I don't know if we can talk about it if no one's seen it. But if you're looking at conspiracies, how did we end up getting that shocking decision against Liverpool? It just came down to sheer and utter incompetence from the VAR room to the pitch. Total incompetence. So I'm not entirely persuaded. I think there will always be an element the big teams will get the big decisions. I mean, for anyone who follows Scottish football, Rangers are close to going something like 3 seasons without conceding a penalty, and even since VAR was introduced, they haven't had a penalty decision given against them, and most of the referees up here are from a Scottish Presbyterian background, and Rangers is the Scottish Presbyterian team. So people will always put 2 and 2 together. And I don't think, people say, well, it's down to blatant cheating. I just think it's down to probably some subconscious bias. And I think teams that are attacking regularly. I mean, if you look at the stats for penalties, the Real Madrids, the Barcelonas, Paris Saint-Germain's, Bayern Munich's, etc., will all get more penalties because they spend more time in the box. That you just can't get away from that. But no, I'm not sure I'm going with conspiracies. But but there's a lot of cock up, and the standard of refereeing. When people, we said that every year, and you can look back at other eras of referees. So they were the worst referees ever. We have crops of referees now that are not good, and I'm usually impressed with referees that I see in Europe. Unfussy, just get on with the job, get the decisions right. I mean, last night was just a case in point of just a.
Ian, I can't remember what the name of the referee was. What was it? I can't remember. There was the very, very well-built black guy who was like a black belt in martial art and everything. What was that referee's name a few years ago in the Premier League?
Did you say he was a black guy?
Yeah,
Rennie, Uriah Rennie.
I think that might have been his name. He was in the Premier League. He used to be an absolutely phenomenal referee. He was like our Kalina, and I used to love him. He was absolutely brilliant. But since then, it's gone down. But we're going to move from England very, very soon to what we really want to talk about, Tottenham Hotspur. But quick question, it's going to be double. I'm going to go to you first, David. Most negative manager, Conte or Southgate? And also, not that it's going to really make a difference to you, do you think Southgate should be leading England into the Euros?
Well, coming from a Welshman, yeah.
I realise what I said.
But no, listen, right? I understand. I get England fans' issues, right, with Southgate, right? The football is boring, yeah? Right? I'm Welshman. We have Robert Page, yeah, right? England, majority of the time, have finished, like, you know what I mean? You've got in semis, you've got in quarters, you've got in finals and everything, right? I would take that watching your football, just like I would have took Conte at Spurs winning a trophy, right? Yep. If it doesn't work out, then that's the issue, right? But, like, you know what I mean? With Robert Page, some of the decisions he makes, mate, are just laughable, right? So I'd say with England fans, I get why you are the way you are with him. But then look at what he has done. Sometimes it's going to go wrong because he can have all the world-class players he wants. Conte can have all the world-class players. Jose, managers like that can have all world-class players. Doesn't mean that they're going to perform on the pitch. Yes, I agree some of the players he's picking don't make sense. There's better out there, and he is being biased in himself. He can say it's about form and everything. And if it's about form, how the hell did Harry Maguire first get in? Like, don't get me wrong, past few games for United, Harry Maguire's been fantastic. Previously, he didn't play a game. There's no form there to look at. So it's just, he's just saying it for just saying its sake type of thing. Do you know what I mean? But personally, you know what I mean? As if I was looking at it from your point of view, yes, I'd want Southgate out. I'd rather have a new manager in, trying to play more attacking football and use the players he's got.
There we go.
As a Welshman, I'd take Southgate over Robert Page, put it that way.
I have a feeling Ian may say something different. Ian, Conte or Southgate? And
I don't like either of them.
The Euros.
Don't like either of them. Conte, I don't want to talk about Conte, seriously, when you see what we did. There was a moment in the game against Malta on Friday. And, oh God, what was the boy's name? The left back, the Milan guy played at left back. What was his name? Anyway, he was pushed up slightly, almost inverted, like one of our fullbacks under Ange. The right-sided fullback got the ball back to goal, and I'm thinking, press. And he sits back, the defender turns, and I'm thinking, someone in the chat, Bellingham's injured. It does make a big difference.
Ian, I think you were talking about
sitting back. There's no energy in the football. I don't quite understand Tomori. Thank you. And Tomori didn't push, and I'm thinking risk and reward football. You're playing Malta. You've got an opportunity to win the ball 30 yards from their goal, and you sit back and let them turn and let them play out. When if you win the ball, there's a more than decent chance with Kane and what have you in the middle that you can go on and turn that into a good goal scoring opportunity. Even if you don't win the ball, there's 75 yards from goal. There's little or no chance you're going to concede as a result of that. And I'm thinking, why on earth has Southgate got them against Malta, playing so deep, playing so unadventurously, playing without any ambition? I mean, let's face it. Ian, Brian and David go into the dressing room. We pick the team and we say, come on, boys, go out, express yourself. We want fast attacking football. Fullbacks get up and outside and inside. We've got a central midfielder, I'm having a bad morning.
You're probably Bellingham.
No.
Gallagher?
I'm thinking about the bloke who went to Arsenal from
Madison.
Oh, Rice.
Rice.
Okay,
Yeah,
there you go.
Damien Rice. You know the singer. That's him. Come on, Declan. You sit, protect, and what have you. Go and express yourself. Create chances. Put those chances away. Win the game. Would it be any worse than what they're doing under Southgate? That's us. We know. I presume David's got no coaching qualifications. I haven't. I don't think you have, Brian, either. And that's how you go out and express. People would enjoy that. I don't enjoy watching England. And I don't know what the tactics are. I genuinely don't know what the tactics are. It's certainly, you go back to Danny Blanchflower. The game's about glory. It's about going out and beating the other, not sitting back and waiting for them to die of boredom. And I'm sitting back and waiting to die of boredom. I'm wondering, why am I watching this? Because it's not giving me any pleasure. Football needs to give you pleasure, and unfortunately, Southgate's football doesn't give me any pleasure whatsoever.
All right, guys. While I've got Dave, sorry, we're going to change the subject. The reason I'm going to change it is I said to Ian during the international break, I wanted to talk about Postecoglou and January, and we were going to do a show. We're going to pre-record it and do it, but then I thought, you know what? Ian's a busy man. He's going on his holidays very, very soon. And I wanted to talk about it. Now, I put a tweet out, or the Spurs Watch did, saying, here we go, or saying there's no money, there's no this, there's no that. And Ian seen me say it, and me and Ian are completely different ends of a certain spectrum when it comes to, or not different ends, I'm just a lot further along the Levy outline than Ian is, a lot further. And I said, and Ian knows this, I said, this window, I'm only judging it by speed that players come in. I don't care where they come from. I don't care how much they cost. I don't care anything. As long as they're in, and more so than ever now, because obviously we're losing 3 key players. I can't remember the last time, like Son's always gone off, or we've had a player in the African nations, they've gone off, but not 3 key players. And then Ian responded, and we're going to get into this, but there's something I need to bring to everyone's attention, which may or may not see a rant from Daigle come very, very soon. Even Ian said, at Celtic, Ange Postecoglou, his deals were done before January a lot of the time. They were announced, so they came in January, or were done very, very quickly. And even Ian said, if we don't do things this way, I'm going to... And that's fair. Ian is very, very down the middle. Always has been, always will be. But we have no money. We have... All these lines are coming out. And I can't believe it's not mentioned in the chat, but a very good friend of the channel, Nick, as in Nick, Barry, Sean, Phil, Grant, has just sent me a message going, you've probably been sent this 1,000 times, but I thought I'd just share it with you. Tottenham Hotspur Football Club sent out an email today at 7:56. And it is basically saying, we are delighted to announce that the global music icon Pink will perform back-to-back shows at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in 2024 as part of her spectacular summer Carnival World Tour. So we can't do deals early. And Ian's probably thinking that I'm getting the tin hat on now, David. You've passed the tin hat down.
Yeah.
Ian, I'm going to come to you first. First of all, nothing surprises me with this football club and announcing concerts, but apparently we've got no money. The PR team that have got a lot better this season, I can't fault them this season. They've got a lot better, a lot more interactive. When all the transfer stuff starts coming out, and obviously it's ITKs, it's nothing official from the club, but we're hearing the same stuff over and over again. First of all, let's have a quick chat. Announcing a concert right now, it's going to get people talking, isn't it? In the way, like my people, let's just say.
In what way? I mean, you say your people, you're talking about the big Levy outers.
I'm talking about people that are Levy out, or people that are not Levy, that are getting annoyed.
Yeah, I this is where I go, what is the issue with announcing a concert? I mean, presumably once you've signed the contracts, you have to put the announcement out fairly quickly, or the rumour mill starts going, or, Pink's publicity people would be putting it out or whatever. Right. I know that people have an issue.
Let me rephrase the question for you. Obviously, I've said on multiple occasions, I hope that stadium is used every single day.
Yeah.
I want that stadium, when it's not being used as a football pitch, I know it is a source of revenue. I know it's a source of income. And as the man said in that video, every single penny goes back into that club. Now, we've had the NFL there this season as contractually obliged. We've had a year where there's been non-stop concerts, there's been non-stop this. And then when we're hearing, and like I said, it's only hearsay from ITKs or journalists putting two and two together, either coming up with 4 or 312. When we're hearing, apparently, like I said, ITKs, there's no money, but these kind of deals still get announced, which is bringing in income. Does it look a little bit silly when we're crying no money?
Oh well, let's take that in its stages, Brian. Let's talk about the no money.
Yeah,
I don't know if we've got no money. We knew we had money a couple of years back, and then the board said that there was they would draw down up. Was it up to £150 million? In lieu of shares that the owners that ENIC would take in lieu. Effectively they were putting money into the club and taking shares out. Nothing wrong with that at all. But we never saw how much of that money was drawn down. We know that we signed Kulusevski on loan, and then that had to be paid for. We were going to sign Porro last winter, but for financial fair play reasons or whatever, Porto, wasn't it? Was it Porto?
No, Sporting Lisbon.
Lisbon Sporting said we want to be paid for it in the summer, so that money. So to some extent, if the club, and I'll take your side on this, want to play a game of smoke and mirrors, they've done it brilliantly. Because I have no idea over the last 2-3 years what we've spent, what we've got in, and where that cash has been attributed to, and I don't think anybody does. Plus, of course, we've got the having a pissing contest with Bayern, but let's say we've got 85-90 million pounds of that. Then it's saying, well, that money was already spent, and then, well, hang on a minute, when was it spent? Because of course we got in Maddison for 40 million, Vicario, whatever. So I don't know. The one thing that I'll put into the mix here is, if we say Spurs are going into the transfer market and you're a selling club right now and you say Spurs have got a Harry Kane money and they want to buy our player. So if you put out press that says, no, the Harry Kane money actually went on signing Kulusevski permanently, Pedro Porro permanently, because that money we thought we were spending previously, we didn't spend, plus we bought Maddison, plus we bought Johnson, etc. So actually that money's not there. You can perhaps negotiate better. I don't take everything, there are people, and you see this, I don't want to get into the politics of the Middle East, but you see it on social media. People believe what they want to believe. Right. Probably people like yourself, Brian, want to be convinced there's no money, the club's shafting us again. Meanwhile, they're getting the pink concert money, and I don't know how many dates she's doing. It won't be a gig I go and see, but she might end up doing 3 or 4 times. There might be some boxing, there'll be other gigs or what have you. So I will wait and see actually how much money there is and how much money we go out and spend. On the one hand, we're not spending any money, but on the other hand, we're interested in signing Rafinha from Barcelona, who have put a £70 million tag on him. And we're saying, well, we're interested in him, but we're not spending 70 million. But that might mean we'd spend 50 million, which is not having no money. Because I tell you, if I had 50 million in the bank, I can promise you I wouldn't be saying I got no money. So that's my sort of objective hat on, saying I don't know how much money we've got and what have you. I think the the Everton case is a salutary lesson for everybody about living within your means and running the business properly, and I have no problem with that. I will wait. I know maybe David wants to come in on this because we'll then talk about timing of signings, which is, I think,
that's what I want to talk to you with him. We just have a very
maybe, I don't know if you want to get
David, before you go, and you will go.
Yeah.
I said there'd be a fourth person, but I didn't expect this fourth person. But he's got to work, so let's bring him in.
Coffee. Yay!
Coffee man.
Let's bring in Mr. Kaufman. Good morning, sir. I hope you're good. But Ben, basically, we just talked. Have you been listening to the show on your way into the work?
I have been fixing my BT internet at home.
That's just disgusting. I should chuck you back out.
Yeah.
Basically, we're just now. What I wanted, we're gonna speak about it quite heavily in a minute within, and I'm really happy we got in about Postecoglou and what he does in January because. And I will say it, and I say on every single show I go on, whenever this name gets mentioned, this man above me right here, from the very second Conte was sacked, the second, I got a WhatsApp from Ian that said Ange Postecoglou, basically, and he has been constant. So he knows his stuff when it comes to this man. He is when people say they have my Sky sources, this is my Postecoglou.
Glasgow correspondent.
We've got Ren001 in the fan club. We have Colin Cross, Brennan Johnson's official, my source. Actually, a good guy never reveals his sources, and I've got them done. But getting back to it,
we like Heinz. We like
exactly.
We like burger sauce.
But what we're talking, Ben, what we are talking about, we're talking about the January transfer window coming up, but also the fact that Spurs have just announced that Pink will be performing at Tottenham Hotspur this year.
Great.
David. What was you going to add to it?
Right. So basically, I think, I get previously and everything like that, fans look at the window and see how bad it's been at times. And they still live under that idea of the days where Poch didn't get any signings at all. Things like that, right? When news comes out via these ITKs and everything, right, it's literally just a slight bit of noise. I was part of a big transfer page on Twitter, right? And they used to see it all the time. They say we'd have no money, yet we'd go buy certain players. Do you know what I mean? And it's just the way it is because for some reason, whether it's Spurs leaking stuff or their sources that they've got within the club or saying, oh, I've heard there's no money and stuff like that. If you look at what we did for Ange in the summer, right? We spent 40 million on Van der Ven. We spent 40-odd million on Brennan and we spent 40-odd million on Maddison. That's over 100 million on 3 players. Not adding, you know what I mean, Udogie, who we signed, obviously, he was on loan, but Vicario, players like that. Do you know what I mean? There was money spent. This whole idea of there's no money or we haven't got a lot of money or anything, well, what's not a lot of money? That could be between 50, 100, whatever. You know what I mean? Because buying 2 players for 50 million, that's 100 million there. That's 2 players. Is that not a lot of money on 2 players? We need to see in January what's going to happen of how much we're going to spend because we've still got how many players out on loan that we need to get rid of. We've still got players within the club that we need to get rid of. That's wages added on to the value of the transfers. Yeah, because we still got to pay their wages. And because we're a self-sufficient club, any money that's coming in within the club has to feed down throughout the entire club. Levy ain't sitting there going in his own pocket and going, here's your money, here's that money. It's got to come from the club. And we've got an abundance of players that we need to get rid of.
Yep.
So for me, fans are overreacting because of past, you know what I mean, things. For me, from what I seen what we did in the summer, Conte had, I believe it was between 9 and 11 players from the Poch days. Jose had that as well. Throughout the starting 11, at the beginning of this season, Ange had 1 player that ever played under Poch, and that was Son. That's it.
Or Ben Davies. Ben Davies as well.
Ben Davies, but he wasn't starting, was he?
Okay, yeah, starting.
Yeah, injuries, right. That comes through next seasons, right? We're at the beginning of this. This isn't 5 years in. This is his first season, had 1 window. You can't change an entire 11 and a bench in 1 window. You don't see any team doing that by Chelsea, who are probably going to get relegated for fiddling things. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think
celebrate that like a trophy.
Oh, yeah.
Celebrate that day like a trophy.
Why is my camera gone all weird? There we go. Sorry.
They're trying to silence you, David.
I know they are. It's Abramovich, isn't it? He's trying to shut me up.
He's trying to silence you. Put your ball hat on, David. It will save you.
Very quickly, what's your thoughts? And then I'm really going to tap into Ian, because Ian and his knowledge with Postecoglou and what he does in January. But your thoughts towards January?
Someone in the chat there's obviously, I'm trying to read the chat as well. One of the interesting things about particularly the first Postecoglou's first transfer window, the January, the signings were pretty well announced on the sort of 30th, 31st of December. Now, the Asian season is different, granted, but the business was done and the players were pretty well in. The transfer business, someone will say, no, don't be silly, they signed this one on the 21st of January. But my impression is the transfer business was pretty well done by the 2nd or 3rd of January. It was really quite remarkable. Now, we've got a team there, with Scott Mann and Lange and the others.
McKenzie.
I'm going to imagine are doing quite a lot of work. There's been a lot of talk about Jota. Jota went to the Middle East. He's not settled in there, not got picked. There are stories that, and I don't know whether they're true or not, that the Saudis will not play him because he's gay. And they're right about Tanguy, but bloody hell, yeah. Don't get me going on that.
Say allegedly there. We do have to
allegedly. No, there are rumours, absolutely. But the point I was going to make, Ben, is not that I'm homophobic in any shape or form. It's the fact that if that's the reason why he can't play in Saudi, there'll be a really good chance to get him either on loan or at a very knockdown price. Jota's a good player. Whether he's good enough, strong enough at the Premier League, we'll find out. But he's got tons of ability to cross a ball, will get on the end of stuff coming in from the left, coming in from the right. Exactly the kind of player that will succeed under Ange. And what's interesting as well with the Ange thing, of course, is that we constantly see he wants someone who can play across the front positions. He's not looking for the sort of orthodox centre forward. So when Son goes, I'm not sure who plays in the middle, but Newcastle want Jota though. Well, I would like to think that he'd come and play with Ange again.
In saying that as well, this is another thing. I'll come to you because obviously Newcastle are rumoured to be the ones that are stiffing around with him, and I just want to say big up to my very good friend Junior Mafia, who always puts a smile on my face. But yeah. Is the lure of Ange something that would win the day with this one?
Yeah. Rafinha, I mean, I don't know. But yet then you might think, a loan with an option or a loan with an obligation. I don't know. I mean, someone was in the chat, and David as well, you're saying about the money we spent, the 100 and whatever million. And, of course, if you add the Kulusevski money and you add the Pedro Porro money, then that our spending suddenly for the summer was over £200 million. But of course, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul if you're saying that, because that means money wasn't spent the previous winter / summer, where, and of course. The cost of a transfer are paid across several windows as well, several seasons. The value of the contract. I think it's going to be interesting that if we can get players in and get players in early, because with players disappearing off to the African Cup of Nations and the Asian Cup, what have you. We're going to be extremely depleted unless we get signings in very early.
In regards to Jota, though, what if, and this is a what if, we all know that the club that Jota is at is owned by exactly the same owner as Newcastle United. So if they really wanted to, they could just give him to them on a free transfer, and that would avoid all FFP as well. Because remember, the Saudi League isn't under financial fair play because it's not a UEFA organisation.
But hasn't there been a block on Newcastle, Ben? I was reading somewhere that there's been a block put in about teams from the Prem loaning players from the Saudi League. There was something put in because of obviously everyone knows.
I don't know the full things, but maybe there is. But let's say there isn't. Hypothetically, there isn't. They could just give him to Newcastle, if he's not comfortable over there for any reason. But what if they bought him originally because they knew that Newcastle might be stretched under financial fair play anyway because they only allowed to spend X amount of money, or it just becomes an Everton case? What if they just give it them Jota? What if Jota was always destined to go to Newcastle anyway, and they just signed him for half the year? They could very well do that. They could do that.
Yeah, because they were trying with Neville, weren't they? They were trying to do that with Neville.
Tin hat. I have to say this.
I've got my alpaca tin hat on.
It's a very nice hat, though, man.
Yeah.
It has become that, but you know what? We've got about 18 minutes left, and the real thing I want to talk about now is let's talk some football.
Yeah.
And let's talk Aston Villa. And I've said there's a specific area I want to talk about, and it's the midfield three.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen lots of talk, and I had this with Brian Ireland on the Late Show on Sunday. Obviously, Basuma's out injured. Suspended. Maddison is out injured.
Yeah.
And obviously, we've got to pick a three. And for me, you hear about relegations 6 pointers. For me, this is a top 4 6 pointer, if you could call it that, because I think Villa are being wildly underestimated. And Unai Emery's doing a wonderful job. And the big talking point is I hear loads of people saying, listen, Bentancur's fully fit now. He's played for Uruguay, he's done this. He can start. Might not be able to do 90 minutes, but can start. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, whoa. Brian Ireland's like that. Even Cody put a tweet out. He is very much, he's fit, put him in. I have got to the point where I don't want to rush him back until Sarr and Basuma go. Bring him on for longer. Bring him on at half time. Eventually, like come mid-December, start giving him starts. So we'll start off with going around the table. And I'll start with you, Ben, as you've just joined us. Do you start Bentancur against Villa?
I don't think we've almost got a choice in the matter. I think we're going to have to play him. I know he played 45 minutes the other day. I don't know if he's how many games Uruguay have played. They
played 35 minutes for Uruguay against Argentina, I believe it was, and apparently
he came on for. It was 45 minutes, right? It was an entire half of football he played.
I heard it was 35.
It's about that. So
either way,
nearly there. He's nearly there. We might, but against Villa, we might need him in that first half. We might need him because we just got such low numbers. But I think Højbjerg would be a good option against Aston Villa because they're attacking threat. It might be a good idea to have him and Basuma, and then have either Lo Celso or Sarr in there. But I'm not sure. I wouldn't play him yet. I think it's still too early to risk him playing an entire game of football. I'm totally with you, Brian. I think
you're with me. EMF. Oh, I don't know why I called you by your full name there. You're not in any trouble.
Yeah. No, I'm going with Bill. Postpone all our games until January. Basuma's suspended, isn't he, on Sunday?
Oh, shit. Let's have that. I forgot that. So we got... Yeah, but I said Basuma's suspended.
Basuma is suspended for his 29th yellow card in the last 6 games.
5 minutes.
I think he must want a holiday or something. You know,
but just Bentancur right now. We'll get onto the rest in a minute. But we'll start Bentancur.
I mean, we always knew, didn't we, that there were certain positions we didn't have enough cover for if we got injuries. The two central defenders, having let Sanchez go, Pink in the camera, Pink Duval. Never mind.
I must admit, I had on a side note, I do love Pink, and not just the music. Let's put it that way.
Madison's another one we don't really have any cover for, no creativity. Are we going to give Lo Celso a run? I mean, trouble is when does he come back from playing for Argentina? I mean, I'm not. I think Højbjerg is going to play, isn't he? And Sarr is going to play.
Yeah.
So I mean, the thing about Big Ange is that he plays one way. I mean, he absolutely plays one way, and it's his strength and his weakness, because he's a little bit dogmatic. And well, we just keep doing this until it works. So where are we going to go? We're going to play Son up top. We're going to play Johnson, and who's going to take the other? We're going to play Kulusevski. And I think we're going to play Højbjerg, we're going to play Sarr, and I would like us to play Lo Celso.
Okay.
I came up with this the other day. I'd like to play.
If you're about to say what you're about to say, keep it quiet. We're going to come to that afterwards, because I love that. I'm putting you on a timeout. Don't say anything. David.
And David and Ben at centre half.
Do you know what? I'd have more faith. Than the two that may start.
Well, one's a Welshman, one's an Englishman, so we're consistent on that as well.
There you go. David, would you start?
Well, personally, I'm going to wait until after the Uruguay game tonight, because apparently he's starting tonight. So I want to see how many minutes he gets, how he plays there. Then that'll be my decision then. If he says he plays 60-odd minutes, then yeah, I'd start him. Okay, because the biggest issue for me quickly is the fact that Aston Villa have got John McGinn, who is a bull in that midfield. He just runs and runs, right? And you know what I mean? And a lot of people don't see Aston Villa as him as being an important player for them, but he really is. He is a fantastic midfielder.
Oh, he's a great player.
He's a workhorse, right? And for me, you need someone to be able to track him. Can Højbjerg, while doing other jobs, because when Højbjerg plays, he seems to do like 2 or 3 jobs on that pitch instead of just one. But I think Bentancur could be the one to kind of track McGinn. And you need someone going forward, which for me, there's only one person, is Lo Celso. Do you know what I mean? So it all depends on how Bentancur plays tonight. If he goes, like I said, does 45 minutes, then does another 10, 15 minutes after half-time, 100% I would start him against Villa because we need that. If he can't do that, then for me, it has to be Højbjerg. But I believe, like Ian said, you need Gio and you need Sarr in there at one point. Do you know what I mean? So that for me is that, yeah.
So Ben, before we come to your theory, because it's grown on me more and more and more, I have to say, I'm not against you, David. I just think if he does it for Uruguay, then he's got the travel back. So let's not forget the travel and all the stuff. Listen, he's not flying economy. He's not going to be penned in, and it's not going to have movement or anything. I think and the only reason I'm saying no is because we are losing Bissouma and Sarr at the same time, and we cannot risk a single thing happening to him. So it's like, do we play him? Even if he plays 65, even if he plays 90 for Uruguay, I'm kind of under the impression you've got 90 minutes, but is your body ready to have back-to-back long?
It's minutes in his legs, though. That's
it's finding the balance, isn't it? Because for me, it is more important having him fit for the whole of January to play 90 than trying, because of like Ben said, because we might have to. So for me, if he has a really good game tonight and even plays 65, brilliant. I'm delighted for you. Now travel home. Now train. Come off the bench whenever you want or whenever Ange says, because we all know he is such an incredible player for us. And big up John Fitzpatrick, brother. Good to see you. But yeah, so for me, it's not. But Ben, now tell everyone your new formation or your new lineup, which I have to say is growing on me more and more and more.
It's the same lineup. It's just Kulusevski is our number 10 because he can hold the ball. He can still got that workhorse in mentality in midfield. But then you have Gio Lo Celso as a left winger,
and Johnson on the right.
What he wants to do of being a creative force, but it also gives him less things to do, as in tracking back, because Udogie's next to him, and Udogie will do that work. So not only will you have the midfield three that will work their socks off, so you have Højbjerg as the base, you have Sarr as the box-to-box guy, and Kulusevski as the midfield. For me, that's a really good idea.
So we're going to discuss that, Ben. We're going to
as left wing, because I want to see him there.
I want to see what Ian and David have to say this, and I will go to Ian first on this one. But I have to say, Ryan, you're never allowed to say that,
Yeah,
Look
you
at us.
were born after Toy Story.
Yes, anyone that was born, and he says that to me, and it drives me mad when he said, "I'm like, oh my god, how old am I?" Anyone that was born after Toy Story 1 and 2 came out cannot put "I'm getting old" in a chat. It's just you got a yellow card, an orange card, an orange card, an orange card. But Ian, what do you reckon of Ben's for tinkering?
Don't think he'll do it. Is the
But do you
bottom
like
line.
the idea?
Not. I can see. I can see it. Do we want to be starting to experiment at this time of the season? You say, well, things must. Things must. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. Not sure. I understand there's been a lot of calls for Kulusevski to play inside.
Yeah.
Certainly strong. I mean, will hold the ball up. His passing's good. His work rate, all the things that Ben says is right. And there's no doubt that he could play in that position. But arguably, he'd be more effective in that position because I think he frustrates a lot.
It gets rid of the thing that annoys everyone, which is he gets the ball on the right.
He comes inside
and he gets tackled. He cannot do that. He can't cut inside if he's already inside.
It's not even just that he cuts inside. Is it? It slows everything down so much when he gets the ball and cuts inside rather than goes outside. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I said at the beginning of the season, I didn't think Kulusevski would be a starter under Ange, but maybe it's a needs must. But I could see him being left out if he wanted to go real Ange ball, which is much faster pace. Through the lines, getting the ball to the front third quickly, and then going really quickly through the lines. But it's an interesting idea, and I think he might be better there than he is outside at the sort of outside right position. Worth a look. I mean, I haven't heard that before, so you've caught me a little bit by surprise.
Once you hear it, Ian, it's going to be in the back of your mind at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ben has done it to me since Saturday. Since Saturday, it's been. I haven't been able to talk about, stop thinking about it. But David, I'm going to be interested to see what you say because obviously
we certainly need creativity. I'm just getting some more water.
Yeah, you do that. But what I was going to say to you, David, is, and big up Amir, very, very good friend of part of the channel and a brother to us. Big up Amir. I hope you and the family are good. David, coming to you with Ben's formation and with Ben's setup. Obviously, that puts, and Colin, I'm looking for your comment on here as well. This obviously puts your man on his favoured right side, which is where I want to see him. I think I look a lot at what he did at Forest. We all speak about last season. He probably single-handedly kept them up in the second half of the season. There's benefits to this because Kulu moves to the centre, and there's a lot of people saying we want to see him, and he can do it. He does it for Sweden. You can see GL on the left, or even Brian Hill. Even if it was GL or Brian Hill, I know Ben doesn't like Hill, but there's your options. But what it does do is it releases Brennan Johnson down that side, and then you team him up with Porro. You've got pace, you've got power, you've got delivery, you've got. I mean, the Ben's formation. What are you thinking about it?
I like the idea. Do you know what I mean? We've seen against. Who was it where Kulu was pretty much playing on his own up front? And Luton, that was it, yeah, where Kulu, I don't get me wrong, it's only Luton, but they're still a strongish team in a sense, but he held his own. Do you know what I mean? He was running everywhere, he was a workhorse. Can he do it from the start? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a bit of difference where you're down to 10 men and he's pushed into there and he's having to do that. But to start him there, I don't know because we've not seen it. I like the idea of putting Brennan on the right. I would actually prefer to see Kulu on the left in times. Do you know what I mean? I don't understand why Ange won't do that. You know what I mean? Have him on the left because he's got a hell of a left foot and he can bring the ball in. The only issue I have with Brennan on the right is when he goes on the right, he likes to cross the ball in a lot, right? Son's not the best in the air. He prefers balls getting passed on the ground.
Yep.
So you're kind of limiting in a sense there, because if you watch when Brennan's on the left, he likes to cut in, pass the ball through the lines. On the right, he'll try and cross in. And we haven't really got them type of players in the box who can head the ball. Do you know what I mean? So there's that kind of a little limit there.
So let me just add that one question with Brendan as well, because if you look at Brendan, and obviously you and Colin know him a lot better than any of us do from international level, obviously, so you keep an eye on him. Last season on the right, yes, he was crossing the ball in, but also he was scoring a hell of a lot. His pace was getting past people. So is it not getting the? You may sacrifice his, and I'm just smiling because I've seen Donna Cullen say "Wagwan" to me, and it tickles me every single day. Just like I say, every time the thought of Donna Cullen saying that just makes me laugh. But yeah, Brendan Johnson on the right, you sacrifice, like you said, maybe not getting the balls into Sonny in his favourite way, but you do get his goal contribution. All right, he scored against Wolves, but you get his. There you go in. You've got one as well, and I think David, you've got. Yep. There you go. There you go. But yeah, going back to you, David. Is it not worth having him on the right because of his goal output as well?
Yes, I agree. Yeah, it is. But for me, that would be if you had like Maddison in the middle, who could find him that way. Do you know what I mean? If Kulu was there and Kulu could do that similar type of passing to Maddison, or Gio could, or someone like that. Do you know what I mean? Because you need that type of pass where Brendan can run onto the ball. Yeah, because it's all right having him on the right, but then if he's like does what Kulu does, where he tries to cut in and, you know, move to the midfield at times, because we've seen Kulu do that a few times. You need that other player there to be able to feed with him, type of thing like that. And because he hasn't actually done that yet, because he's been playing on left and he's been feeding to Maddison. Would that work? Do you know what I mean? You need someone to be able to do that on that right side, like, you know what I mean? The Porro inverting in. I mean, we know Porro's got a good pass on him and stuff like that.
There you go. There you go, Ward.
Yeah, exactly. So, but also, a lot of people don't realise is Brendan can actually play in the middle as well. He's actually played as a centre attacking midfielder himself. Do you know what I mean? So
how did he do that, David?
Not too bad. I mean, he scored a lot of goals more centrally than he does on the left or right. You know what I mean? Cutting in type of thing. Coming from the middle, he scores a lot more goals because he's ambidextrous with his feet. He can score left or right. So I think if Ange wants to switch it up a little and put, say, Kulusevski in the middle and Johnson on the right, they'd have to switch at times. Do you know what I mean? So as Johnson comes in, Kulu will have to move on the right and have them playing that type of role of switching in between each other. But sticking Johnson out on the right, I mean, I watched him against Wales on the right the other night, and he was, I've got to be honest with it, he was very poor there. He lost the ball a lot of the times. He didn't try. He tried going out to the byline, and he's just not there at the moment. So I don't know whether that's just because of his injury and he hasn't had much game time and stuff. But it's one of them. But just have to see if he was to push him out there, how that'd work, because there is a few little things that I see that might not go as well because of the players we've got on the pitch.
Well, there you go. Well, I'll tell you what, on that note, we're going to wrap. Like I said, people, Ben is still doing an incredible job, and we'll be doing Cockerel Doodle live Monday and Friday hosting. But I'm going to get back and I'm going to join Ben every single day of the week, Monday to Friday. So we will be back giving you your morning Spurs show every single day or weekday at 9 a.m. But we'll go round. Ian, sir, it is always a pleasure. Ben and I are looking very forward to filming pre-recording our day on the Advent calendar with yourself tomorrow. Ready?
It's tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah.
It is indeed. We're not going to let people know what day it is, but it's always a pleasure speaking with you. And where can people find you, buddy?
Well, I missed that question.
Where
Sorry.
can people find you if they want to communicate?
Where can people find me? Usually on your show or others when I get asked. But follow me at Shaggy1712 and I will follow Spurs supporters back.
I've always wanted to know, and I'm sure I've cracked the code because I'm very good at these things. And if this is wrong, then I look stupid. But I'm guessing you've got a birthday coming up soon.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I have. Yeah,
Around
17th
about the
December.
17th of December.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What is it? 3 weeks on Sunday or something? Yeah. You know, where me and my good lady are off to the Far East on, on Thursday. So
Yep.
I'm back for that. So. Yeah.
See, there you go. My spider senses and my detective I am back in my game. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
David, always a pleasure, brother. I would say, where can people find you? I haven't seen anything from Tottenham all
Thanks,
recently.
Chris.
Is there anything coming up?
I have no idea, mate. I'm not hearing anyone off that side anyway. But if anyone wants to find me, I'm on Twitter. I'm Rodrigo Roadman. Ian, I've just followed you back. And pre-happy birthday for when your birthday's there if I don't see you beforehand. So,
yeah,
that's out there. But yeah, regards to Tottenham Hall, I have no idea what's going on at the moment. No one's talking over there or anything like that at the moment. So at the moment, if anyone wants to hear any rubbish opinions from a fat Welsh hairyman, I'm Rodrigo Roadman on Twitter.
Is that you're lucky you got Emma there, because that would be a really bad Tinder profile bio. That really would have been a bad one.
Want to see a fat hairy Welshman? Here we go.
Colin, you will be we'll be here tomorrow to give you some counselling, or we can even talk Wales for a bit. Listen, Mr. Levy, I couldn't care when your birthday was. The only time you'll ever hear anything good coming from me is when you say I sell the football club. Then I'll love you with all my heart. Ben, where can Ben, brother, where can people find you next?
You can find us on the Coffee Company. I believe Mark Cousins put the link in the chat at many points. So get over there onto the Coffee Company, 2 p.m. The usual mental health, chill, chat, and good times. But there's Mark.
There it is.
Again. But we've just hit 600 subscribers, and we'd like to try and get closer to the 700 mark by the end of the year. We'll see what we can do. But over there, and mostly on Tottenham on Tour, the world famous home of Levy Out, as we all like to call it.
Correct. Listen, I will be back tomorrow with Cockerel Doodle. God, it's been so long since I said it, I can't say it right.
Yeah.
Cockerel Doodle.
CCD.
Yeah, that's what that's going to be so much easier to do. So we will be back. Thank you for everyone joining the show. Enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you're doing. Ben, take it away.
Well, thank you all so much for watching today's show. We will see you later. If you smell what the cough is brewing, and
as always, out.
Come on, you Spurs.